to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Sensual Goat and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all. Let's try that again.
Afternoon.
Oh, we got there.
Come on, Discord.
Come on, Discord. Play the game. Did you send us that link? Just so I know that once we've rambled our way through housekeeping, we'd actually have a video to cover.
Yes, it's in Master B.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Wonderful stuff. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Any evidence of what should we start with? Any evidence of gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Pictures from space.
It's not evidence of a containerless gas pressure system. That's just a claim that you're men on high wire claiming to be in an area violating that natural law I'm asking about. That's not evidence. That's a violation of the second law.
We know the sky is a vacuum because we have the pictures from space.
No, the space that the pictures are coming from is a second law of thermodynamics violation. So we'd need evidence that you can have the gas pressure we're all breathing without the container to make the space they're claiming the pictures come from real, because currently that area of volume called outer space stands in direct violation of the second law of thermodynamics. We need evidence to show that you can have gas pressure without a container. Pointing at the sky is simply a begging the question fallacy. If you say, well, I've got a sky vacuum because I believe the sky is a vacuum. That's just begging the question.
Give it a try.
You don't get to beg the question here. Hey, John.
Hello.
Did you see my post about my microphone?
Oh, Lord.
Was that, oh, Lord, as opposed to yes? I've seen your post. I'm very excited for you.
Very excited.
Did you or didn't you see my post?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so about, I don't know, a week ago, I'd been watching a microphone that is the Beatles microphone. The microphone dangling above Ringo that they were singing into when they were doing Day Tripper. It's a microphone that in the 50s and 60s was relatively common at Abbey Road. And when the engineer was asked by one of the engineers I do actually follow on YouTube, he said, well, why did you use the D19 on the Beatles? And the engineer's response was priceless. Because it was plugged in. That was his response. In other words, because it was in and at the end of a wire working. Why else would I use it? So it wasn't because of the beautiful top end that it produced. I love the way the bass is accentuated in a marvellous marshmallow-like quality, or some of the complete crazy nonsense that makes no sense that uses words to describe sound. He just said because it was plugged in. Nevertheless, the mics that were plugged in when the Beatles were being recorded is a very specific mic. It's an AKG D19. Now, don't get me wrong, they've sung into Neumanns as well, but while I'm not a particular Beatles fan, I saw this particular mic on eBay, asked the guy if he'd want to sell it cheap, because it was, as far as he had put in the advert, broken. It got a broken microphone, and that's what I was expecting to receive. So when I got the mic out the package, plugged it in, and it worked, and, as I've just found out, having played it back on the big rig, the high pass filter also works. So it's a fully functional microphone that I've seen advertised for $1,000. that I've bought for peanuts, and is fully functional. Sold on the basis that, you know, I'll take a gamble on this paperweight because it doesn't work. And it's not a paperweight, it absolutely works and is worth a significant amount of money. So that's put me in an extremely good mood. And if you haven't seen it, I might as well just play the video of it because I've actually got it queued up. So why not, as I have got it.
Wix.
Oh, damn it, adverts. Right, we'll just play our way through the adverts and then you'll... Right, there we go, skip. A one-way ticket, yeah. It took me so long to find out, but I found out now. This is an AKG D19 Beatles microphone. And to find one that hasn't been dropped, smashed, broken, and in what this is, working order, is a bit of a unicorn. So, Holy Grail microphone, maybe not, but definitely rare. So Abbey Road themselves only have a couple of these left out of the 12 or 13 mics that they had back in the 50s and 60s when they were first available and used on the Beatles. So this is essentially a Beatles microphone. It has been converted from DIN to XLR, and this is how it sounds. I'll put some glory shots up so you can see exactly how it looks in the flesh, but it is, and I'm not joking, quite beautiful up close and personal. It is badged Telefunken, so it's probably one of the rarest because it's got the nicest logo on it. It's gold, it says Telefunken, it's a D19 AKG Beatles microphone. And as I say, this is how it sounds. I'm going to twist the collar on the microphone. I have no idea what this does, but I'll pause the video, twist the collar, and then you can hear what it sounds like in the second position. One-way ticket, yeah. This is how the mic sounds with the collar turned. I have absolutely no idea what that did, but this is what it sounds like now I've twisted that collar. So this is, once again, the AKG D19 Beatles microphone. There you go. That's what it looks like. That's what it is. And I'm just extremely excited for having received something that's very rare. Oh. What was that? That's very rare, and I assumed I'd be taking a punt on, might be a paperweight, but is now a valuable piece of memorabilia that was used to record the Beatles with. So I'm absolutely made up, John. Might as well show my audience as I've got it literally within arm's reach. Why not put it on screen? Let's just turn some more lights on so you can have a look. This is it. So this is the AKG D19 Telefunken badged. So some of them have got crappy head shells on the top that seem very fragile. And it's kind of difficult to describe how it looks because it's almost like it's made of marble. It's not, it's metal. But it feels and looks like it's made of marble. So it's really, really, really pretty. And let's just get the badge the right way around. So let's get that a bit closer to the camera. Focus, you. Let's just get my hand up, see if I can get it to focus. It's not going to do it, is it? Come on, focus! Oh, we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. I'll give up in 3, 2, 1. No, it's not going to focus on it. But you can take my word for it. It's badged Telefunken. It looks really pretty. Let's put it against the white t-shirt so you can see what it looks like. It's had an XLR conversion already. Maybe the guy who plugged it in thought it was broken because he hadn't plugged it in correctly. Maybe given it phantom power. I have no idea why he thought it was broken, but it definitely isn't. It works perfectly, as you just heard. So I'm going to stick it straight on eBay if I don't keep it. So I'm kind of in two minds now that it's cool and working and nostalgic. But it's got a very, very fine voice coil in it, which is why if you drop them, they break. And that's why out of the 12 maybe that they had at Abbey Road, they don't have any anymore, because they've all been dropped by people being careless and they immediately break the fine voice coil in them. So they're kind of either working or they're not. This one is. Hooray! That's it. I'll stop talking about the Beatles.
You were so excited by what you had to say that he had to leave.
Who did? John?
Yeah.
I think he's having internet issues. I got my wife making coffee in the background. I'm just excited to get to whatever, maybe 6 p.m. this evening and set it on a 10-day auction. I just don't know what price to start it at. I can link my video that I've made about it. I can go into detail about how it's been used in the Beatles. Anybody who's looking at the listing will know that anyway. I can put a load of pictures like I had in that video up in the listing. What else is there to do other than set a price, which I don't know. And again, I said this yesterday, I need to make ends meet. YouTube is a bit crap at the moment. This is fairly typical for this particular time of year, far enough away from Christmas, as in the last one. into the new year, it's spring, people start spending money on themselves. Totally understandable. It just means that you end up with a little bit less revenue in YouTube. So having done this for 10 years, I know what the cycles are like. So know that I'll either have to make ends meet, which is what I'm doing with things like microphones, and flipping them is a quick way to do that when I wanted to upgrade microphones. So I can learn about them to sell them and to get a better one, which is what I've ended up with. I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself from yesterday. I did go over this yesterday, so we were in the middle of the housekeeping questions, weren't we? Hey, John.
Neil can't find the link to the show. Can
Neil,
you repost it?
I posted it in Master B. You want me to repost it in Master B?
If you would. He can't find it.
Okay, I'll just put it up again. Hopefully I'll be able to find his way to the show. Same applies to all of you watching. There's 50 people. I know we've only just started and all have done it to talk about a microphone thus far. I've got another microphone as well, because I know you're all very excited to hear this flat earth debate / microphone show that it's turned into. But I also, and it arrived today as well, exactly the same time, got the ABBA mic. I don't know if anybody remembers me talking about this, but I also ordered an ABBA mic. And I got that, got it out of the box, went test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this works. Put it down and immediately went to the Beatles mic. We're like, yeah, that can wait. That's far less interesting than this Beatles mic. Anyway. Hopefully you got the link, Neil. I've stuck it in Master B. If you've gone to Teams, maybe that's your problem. Stick with Skype. It'll be around forever. Skype's awesome. Everyone loves Skype, don't they?
Yeah, I think they just bought it so they wouldn't have to compete with it.
Yeah, you want to make it redundant if you've got something that you can supersede it with, like Teams. It keeps hustling me to get Teams. I'm like, I'm all right for now. I'll wait till you do absolutely everything without me having to press more than 2 clicks. Then I'll change. Once you've done it all for me. Anyway. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline, as it's on screen?
No one ever does that. It wouldn't be an angle.
No, not even the globers do that, do they? They also acquire elevation angles from flat planes. Equatorial planes are just the same flat plane as we're actually using. It's just they think that the surface we're measuring is in hell, in a ball, on a flat plane also, because that's the only way you can get an angle to be functional in a globe paradigm. You know, you have to set it in the middle of the globe in hell.
So the base of the protractor now becomes the arc of the protractor.
Yeah, basically the globe becomes a protractor, so it's wrapping around your position. They become the angles. So if you were to suggest that you were doing that from Polaris position, so if you're standing in the middle of the globe in hell, Polaris being at your zenith, then yeah, you've got essentially the Polaris-based latitude system wrapped around you as a globe. Glorified protractor. Hey, One Deck.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody.
Did you see my Beatles microphone update?
I did see something on that, Nathan, yeah? Was you looking at a mic on eBay or something like that?
Yeah, it works. Not just any mic, the mic that recorded the Beatles. Sold as broken and turned up working.
Nice one. Bloody hell, that's amazing.
Yeah, I can't quite believe it. It said on the guy selling it put on the title broken, literally in the title. So because of that, he'd sold it cheap. Well, when anything's cheap on eBay, I want it even cheaper. And standard fare for me is to offer 1/3 of whatever you're asking, which is precisely what I did offer him. You know, peanuts.
Bloody hell! So you've got and it's definitely like a Beatles mic, and it's bloody hell. What are you going to do? You get a few quid for that, mate.
I would think so. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's going to be more expensive microphones out there, Neumann's for a start. But as far as nostalgic vintage mics that are old and dusty and, you know, normally undesirable, there's obviously certain mics that are out there that recorded the Beatles, and therefore people would want them just for that reason. And obviously it's a bonus if they're working, because many of them are bust now.
There's Neil, he might buy it.
I don't think so. I don't think he'd have a use for it. I can't think of anybody
nice one, that's really-
who'd have a use for it. I mean, maybe if you're in a recording studio and you've got to have a list of mics and clients are asking you for the Beatles mic, then you'd want it in your locker and you'd want a nice one. That's what I'm going to tell the next man that's buying it.
No, there'd be a Beatles fan out there somewhere who want that mic, I'm telling you. It's just a matter of finding them.
Tribute bands.
Yeah, if it's something associated with something people love, the idea of it it'll sell big.
Well, Craig has just joined because I've been keeping him in the loop, right? Hey, Craig, because I was under the misapprehension that I'd be asking him to repair this heap of crap from 50 years ago.
Hello.
Hello, that mic works.
Oh, well, bonus.
Yeah, so there was me like queuing you up to work on it. I thought I'd get it in the post, plug it in and go, yeah, doesn't work, and come down to you and go, can you see if you can turn this from a crappy paperweight into something quite valuable, and then pray that you could get it working. No need. I plugged it in and sung Day Tripper into it. I'm not even joking.
Oh, you could have chose a better song, though.
Well, I think they actually recorded Day Tripper with it. That's why I picked it. So when I was doing the research on it before it came, it was one of the songs that actually got recorded with it. So the photo that I've got of Paul sat actually singing into this particular mic, a D19, that could be when they were tracking Day Tripper. So you're like, nah, well, seems like an appropriate song to sing.
So could you claim that it was the actual one or just a similar one?
Well, no, because they were made by all sorts of different manufacturers, so it definitely isn't the exact one, because the exact one is a, believe it or not, crappier version, so a cheaper, nastier version by AKG themselves. So it's an AKG mic, but there was lots of, like now, there's plenty of people that will sell mics that aren't theirs under their own name. Well, it was like that then. So you could buy it under all sorts of different names. You could buy it under a Philips name. You could buy it under an AKG name. You could buy it under Telefunken. There were several others as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there were several other manufacturers that all made this exact same mic, a D19, but just under their own name. Now, of them, the most desirable badge is easily Telefunken, the one I've got, because it just looks gorgeous. The mic itself looks like it's made out of freaking marble, and it's gold, and it says Telefunken on it. It's just so cool. I mean, that was the only reason I wanted it was because it looked so cool. And I'm like, well, if it's a paperweight, then what of it? And the guy's like, do you know what this is? I'm like, no, and I don't care. Sell it me cheap.
What you need to do then is get yourself a new profile picture singing into it.
I just want to sell it. I mean, really, that's all I want. I'm excited that it might turn into money so that I can have what I actually wanted, which is this Neumann shotgun, which I got to a lot quicker than I was expecting. But if I can wipe out all the money I've spent along the way, buying and selling microphones and acquiring new ones for me actually to use, if I can cover all of those costs, I'd be elated. So that's my only desire, to flip it, basically, to sell it, which is precisely what I'm going to do this evening. I'll stick it straight back on eBay.
Woohoo. Job done.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. Happy days. I'm delighted. But the fact that you were kind enough to suggest that you would, right, is the only reason I took a punt on it. So I still should thank you. But because I've got a Craig, I could say I'll take a punt on this. I might be getting it fixed, and Craig might be casting
Poor guy
his eye
don't
over
have a
it.
chance.
Say again?
He knows you're going to come to him. Jeez, poor guy don't got a chance.
Who doesn't have a chance? What?
I mean, Craig, he's probably hearing this and saying, oh, God, he's going to get something else for me to do. Peace.
That's Craig's, I don't know how many years ago, 5 years ago, when Craig figured out that I did this show and that I'm piss poor. It was like, if I can help with things that I can do, so long as they don't cost me money and materials, if it's me physically hands-on doing stuff, I'll do it for you and I won't charge you. Now, that was incredibly generous back then and still is now. Now, to be perfectly honest, the fact that I can take advantage of that and Craig doesn't give me grief for it still to this day is the reason I've gambled on this mic. That was my point, because I've got a guy that will say, yeah, I'll help you out. And if it costs money and materials, in saying that, he just modded my mic and didn't charge me for the materials he bought. So yeah, people support you when they like what you do in many different ways. And that's the way that Craig supports this channel. with his time and his efforts and his expertise. Yeah, other people give me cash. You know what I mean? There's not just one way to support you. Adam's giving me his time also. He's helping me edit the book currently. So, you know, I had to explain that to my daughter because she was like, why have you bought... Because I was buying something from a cash generator, a pawnbroker here in the UK. And she's asking me why I've bought another version of what I've already got, this desk. I'm like, Adam spent hours and hours and hours and hours doing the stenography on this book, doing the editing on this book, coming up with new stuff that's, you know, his to put into the book for me. You know, like, so when man says, how do I make this mic you've bought me work? You buy man an interface there and then. So I was explaining this to my daughter. In other words, you look after the people who look after you, right? And I get that in kind from the people who I broadcast to. I know today's show's kind of turned into the mic show, but it's all linked together. You know, I want to do a better job of producing the show, therefore I want a mic. Therefore, temporarily, I've learned how mics are functioning and what makes them desirable and saleable. Bought them cheap, sold them expensive, got myself a better mic. Now I'm just in the process of hopefully recouping some of the money that I did spend along the way. And I can talk about things like the Beatles as I do so. But moreover, the end game isn't to talk about Beatles, isn't to talk about microphones, heaven forbid. It's to talk about flat Earth. So therefore, when people do just straight up give me cash, which they do, to support me so I can pay the bleeding mortgage and the bills, they give it me because they are also supporting me for what they get back from me when I give flat Earth information out to the general public. They see value in that. My expertise and, to the most part, your expertise, the rest of the people who support me on the panel. Same goes for you. The people who turn up day in, day out. There's no obligation. There's certainly no paycheck. But the guys like you, Neil, as you're the one currently talking to me, who turn up day in, day out, that's your support of me. So when you were in need and I immediately was like, oh my God, I must reach out to my community to help Neil, and you were so touched by it, it's like, well, lest you forget that you've put in so much of your time to support me, to help build this show. So you've dedicated time. Time's just as valuable as some people's money or some people's expertise. It's all different in terms of support. When you say support, there's an idea that instantly means money, and it doesn't. You know, and when I talk about the joy of the support I get on this channel, the same applies. It's not just because people give me cash that I can... Sometimes it is. You know, I had a few £100 float that people have given me when I hinted at the idea that I might e-beg to upgrade my mic, which is kind of a bit disgusting when you think about it. You've got something functioning, you want to upgrade it, and you're e-begging? That would be a bit... You know, might leave a bitter taste in people's mouths. But I mentioned it, and people gave me a couple of £100, enough to start doing this. So there was... to a degree, I'm just disclaiming it, there was a certain amount where, no, I did actually need money to do it. But it doesn't change the fact that people like Craig, get back to the actual point, being there for me, just there for me, he hasn't had to do anything in this instance, still requires thanks. Thank you so much for being just there for me to say, yeah, I'll risk a few quid, which might not be much. I'm not going to mention the amount now, I'm going to sell it. But, you know, that risk was quite significant to me, even though probably to most people it isn't. You know, I'm on a tight budget. I'm on a very fine tightrope in terms of finances. I have to be very careful. So, you know, knowing that I've got a guy that might turn a paperweight into a profit and then it turning up working, you're like, bloody hell, I'm glad I've got the support around me to make that gamble work far better and far quicker than I first thought it would. So this is turning into a praise for everyone around me show. It starts off with a microphone, but it represents more than that. You know, this Beatles mic. It's cool because it's nostalgic. The Beatles have made their way into history. You could postulate that we'll be remembered in a long time to come. And I'm buying and selling a Beatles mic so I can, you know, keep the lights on while I'm writing a book. Because I haven't got time to do OMI videos and make the channel pick its bootstraps up where I'd normally address the slight lull in numbers. I'd be normally churning out more things like OMI videos like in the past. We're writing a book. Got other stuff to do. It's just not immediate. It's not going to turn into immediate cash for that time. But the long-term benefits of having a book with my name on the bottom of it, going out day in, day out, it could be like Bleeding Rowbottom's book. It could be selling in 100 years. Now you might go, oh, you're kidding. No, I'm not. It's turned into a reference book. It's not just all roads lead to a flat Earth anymore. Is it, Neil?
Nah, it will be selling. Not could be. It will be.
Yeah, I agree. I was telling this to my wife, and now when I was suggesting to Adam, like, I want to get this done because we've got a crap bathroom that we've got this we had. I don't know if we've still got that squishy bottle of soap, hun, that fell into the sink. We've got a bottle that's glass, and it fell onto the porcelain sink and smashed it. So now we're washing in a smashed sink, along with horrible tiles that are all falling off the bathroom. It's very old. I fitted it when I first moved into this place more than 20 years ago. So it's crap. It's all falling to bits. Well, that's my wife's priority. Obviously, she wants a new bathroom. And I see the book as something that potentially might fund that. So when I said that to Adam, he's like, no, you need to be negotiating with your publisher and getting better deals, and you need to... It's turned into a much more big deal in terms of what it could do for your family in the long run. In other words, the amount of time and effort that's gone into it has generated interest from the people who are also helping me bring it to fruition in terms of how it will benefit me and my family moving forward. So in the short term, yeah, I've got to flip a few microphones and learn about Beatles and stuff. But in the long term, I would hope that book sales will actually keep generating an extra revenue for me to keep a roof over my kids' head, keep them educated, and keep food on the table. So it's a serious business that I've got a lump in my throat talking about because I've only achieved for all the people around me. You could say you get by with a little bit of help from your friends.
Oh,
Yay.
Nathan is his community.
Oh, that's a nice one. Hold on, John. That Beatles reference is amazing. And number one, I'm just going to give you a little advice. Moving forward, you got to drop the mother effers. If you don't know what this book is going to be, people are going to come and look at your channel and they're going to hear these mother effers and it's going to turn them off. Just my opinion.
Okay, I know what Neil's saying, but I'm going to translate for the audience. Neil's not saying you've got to drop these mofos who you talk with. Neil's saying stop calling them mofos. The language will put people off. Because in yesterday's after show, so I've been reasonably conciliatory, in fact complimentary to Omnivore, who's participated because I was late starting. So I've been on mute in the Discord server while I'm faffing around pressing buttons so no one can hear me. So it still sounds professional and everything's going well and no one would know any different if I hadn't said anything. But I am late and flustered, even though, strictly speaking, started, as far as the audience was concerned, maybe 1 minute late. Well, no, not really. Anyway, Omni's got the mic. He's holding court on my live show until he isn't, right? And then he's thanked for his lack of self-appreciation or self-introspection, whatever you want to call it. Then we move into the after show, and he, like, for whatever reason, decides that he wants to dance the dance with me. Okay, I'll pretend I want to two-step around with you dancing about the Black Swan in this instance, right? As he's asking questions about distances to horizons we're not claiming that he needs. Yeah? So we enter into the dance, I start detailing Black Swan, he starts rumpusing me. I instantly lose my temper with him and start mofoing him down, swearing at him basically. Because I'm telling him what I'm telling you, the audience. I'm pretending to enjoy dancing with you. No, I'm not enjoying dancing with you. I've gone through the Black Swan. I said thousands of times, tens of thousands of times I said to him, no. But let's pretend it's realistically 20, 30, 40 times with fundamentalist religious globe-believing zealots. The dance has been danced. It's not a new dance. So, you know, it's what I called or suggested to him was going through the motions. Now, if you as my opponent don't want to go through those motions and feel that it's like back in 2020, where if you could only rumpus me saying it, nobody would hear it. If you think that's what's going to fly in 2025, you're just going to get absolutely chastised. And that may include some swearing. Now, Neil's saying, nah, don't. You're like, okay, I'll take that on board. It's always the Christians that do this. Previously, it's been Bible U has brought me into line. She's probably got so sick of trying that she's no longer doing it, but she's done it enough times for it to make a mark and make me now reiterate her point when she's taken me to one side. And other groups of Christians have done similar things with me, where they've taken me to one side and said, in time, people will be put off by your use of this language. Now, I can't help it when I'm furious with somebody who's just asked me to dance with them and then starts spitting in my face while they're two-stepping around on the dance floor. You know, What? Okay, you want to spit in my face because there's a whole people around me. I'll cause a scene then in the middle of this dance floor, and you will have me tearing your strip off while everybody watches. Yeah, the music's going to stop, the needle's going to scratch on the record, everyone's going to stare at you while I swear at you. Yeah? Don't spit in my face if you ask me to dance.
Well, there was something that happened though when he went silent. You remember what question you asked him?
Why doesn't the plane nose down?
No. I can't remember the exact question.
There was a
But-
few times he went silent, though, John. That's his.
No,
That's
what
his
happened
game
was-
too.
Nathan, you pointed out the horizontal plane of reference within Andrew Thomas Young's citation.
Yeah. John gets it, right? I'm not trying to dismiss you and Neil, but John gets it. There's is it an alarm bell you'd call it, John? There's something that certain that's the word, trigger words that they'll say. And as soon as they say them, you go, bang, you're using the horizontal plane of reference in your Earth curve mathematics. It doesn't matter where it comes from, Thomas Young or otherwise. They're using a surface level in those mathematics. So when he goes silent is when it's almost slightly telling, because it's like he does know where there is nothing but silence that could benefit him. Anything he says after that fact is bad for him. So the only move on that chessboard is silence for him. But the fact that he knows that makes me a bit more suspicious of who Omnivore may be. Given the current shillery that's going on in Flat Earth, everybody's acutely aware of this sort of stuff. I'm just saying, you look at them and go, how is it that you are aware of just how devastating this is to the point where you're also aware in that moment that it's best to keep your mouth shut? Well, okay. We won't dwell on it too long.
Danny Faulkner also uses that.
Same with Danny Faulkner. Yeah, good point. Well dropped in. He did the same. But he did that because he just is that little bit more intelligent than your average baller, I would suggest, without being too complimentary to Danny Faulkner.
Nothing. You're talking about someone trying to understand something beyond what they accept as true, and he's on that line of understanding at that moment.
No, he's not.
He can't say anything. But what can you say? Like, there's nothing to say. It's probably the scaredest he's ever been in his life.
Yeah, I attribute to that too. I'm still in the...
No way. No way. I'm sorry. Did you hear him the whole show before trying to school everybody like he's the teacher? Bullshit, man.
Well, they all do that. If I can seem like the teacher teaching you, the dumb flat earther, about how you don't understand, then it's not me internalising or contemplating the facts of the flat earth that is required at some stage, like in Andrew Thomas Young's reference to surface level and parallel eye level for the mathematics to function at all. Now, we know that, so we can immediately get triggered to take the globe believer to their flat plane they require in any instance. And silence is what you get. Asking him for contemplation over the plane that not nosing down because he's asking us to justify it. No, share your pain. But when we get to the flat earth you'll use, because his words that triggered me in this instance were, the globe model will work. Now, I go, yeah, he's right. There is a bit in the globe model that does function in physical reality. It's the flat bit. It's the surface level bit. It's the measurement for the eye level. The height of eye is measured off a flat earth. Now I know all these things. There's no escaping. The tables, as far as I'm concerned, are turning for me, the individual, in terms of my comprehension, which is now brought back in line with people like, I'm not just saying it because he's right, but Brian and refracted curvature. Sorry, everyone else around you, if you feel like I'm just giving unjustified props where you should get it. Tough luck. Brian and refracted in this instance have understood this for a very long time, longer than myself, and have therefore had this kind of calm confidence, and less so with Brian. He gets easily irritated with the twats we deal with. But nevertheless, there's a quiet confidence when you know Earth's flat. And when I've been pointing out certain aspects of what I'm now calling triggers, the bit that they will require that has a flat Earth within it, Brian and Refracted, John, were already pointing this out to me without me fully comprehending the whys and wherefores of why that would be the case. So that it just becomes a trigger word when they say it, so I can take them straight to the flat plane they need. Now, for me, like I say, and also Refracted and Brian, I don't know about the rest of you, maybe you'll demonstrate this to the audience at some stage, but certainly for me, and I'm sure people see it in me when I'm talking to the fundies, they're going to be taken straight to the flat plane of reference that they require to be measured. That's Earth, if you're dealing with reality. They're going to be getting there pretty damn quickly. Brian could already get them there. Brian was playing with his food. He'd long progressed past that. He's like toying with them and wants to take them into their paradigm where he will beg the question on their behalf to show it doesn't work after the fact. But that's an exemplary understanding that I didn't have till recently. Now that I do, I only ever want to take them to the flat plane of reference they'll need in the first instance, which becomes boring for someone like Brian. Now for someone like John, he's keen to get to that place, which is a bit of a contrast to Brian, so sometimes they're at loggerheads, because I align more with John than Brian. I don't want to necessarily play with my food. I just want to take him straight to the flat plane that Earth's being measured as in every instance, as much as there's a more, not convoluted, that's rude, a more exemplary, expounded upon explanation about the begging the question they must go through in their cognition to use the flat plane that is ignored after the fact. But Brian has recognised it, so he'll play with his food. That was a bit of a mouthful.
Shout out to Sleeping Warrior.
Oh, also, hello.
Sorry. What a load of rubbish. That was the biggest horde sandwich ever for Brian. Brian are really great. John's a bit more greater than Brian. Brian does this, that. No, he doesn't. Brian doesn't do those things. You don't know what Brian does because you don't give Brian the chance to talk at the time. So when you're going off into globe mathematics, I'm trying to find out what exactly is it that this guy is claiming the horizon is. You're the beggar to go off the question, not me.
Yeah, I can only realise these things after the fact and apologise because I'm not as quick on the uptake. So yeah, what Brian's just pointed out is that when it was on me yesterday, is suggesting there's a horizon. All Brian wants to get to is the point where, are you suggesting it's a real horizon? Because I listened back actually, I heard where your trigger word was where he said, what was it? He said something like actual horizon. You immediately pipe up and there's only one. What are you babbling about? So you wanted to distinguish that, and I hadn't cottoned on. In the replay, I hear it straight away, of course, where you stepped in and why you'd step in, like you just said. Nah, there's only one horizon, and he's going to be refracting his. You know it before he's even opened his mouth the moment he said, what was the word he used that triggered you, Brian? I can't remember what he called the horizon, but something like that.
I'm not sure. Could it be the actual horizon?
I think it was actual.
Visible horizon.
Visible! That was it. He said the visible horizon, and suddenly you step up to the mic.
Yeah, but all I wanted to know was what he was claiming the horizon to be. Adam asked the exact same. See, me and Adam are much more like than you. All right, you and John are like, but me and Adam are like. We just want to know what it is he's claiming the horizon to be. Because you can't claim it's geometric. That's the end of that. Do you know what I mean? So that we claimed after that means nothing. You know, but then you want to go into the mathematics and his globe and all the rest of it. So I have no choice then. I go, well, that's where we're going. Nathan's gone there. But then the next day, Nathan blames me. I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works either. It's normally my ignorance that means that I don't want to be begging the question when it's supposed to be, or saying we shouldn't be begging the question when you need to be. I typically get it wrong, and obviously this displeases you. I will only fall on my own sword and say it's my own ignorance that leads me to those positions. Occasionally, I'll catch up, and hopefully you'll be patting me on the back. It very rarely happens. I very rarely get any support from Brian in that regard. In fact, he would rather I was out on the road flogging microphones all day, every day.
All I was going to do yesterday is, because you had already gone into the maths and into his paradigm and into his citation, whatever else, right? I'm not saying it was just a wiki reference. I can't remember, but it was Andrew Thompson. Well, all I wanted to do was lay out for the audience the step-by-step nonsense that brings them to that point. Because it doesn't start with a measurement. I mean, I added in the measurement, but it actually doesn't start with that. It starts with a pre-assumption. They don't need to measure anything, right? They just pre-assume, right? And I wanted him to bring him to his own maths. Because if you're going to be talking to him, unless because he had said to you, you don't understand the maths, and I wanted to show how he didn't understand the maths, but it never got around to it. Doesn't matter anyway. The point is that you wanted to go into all that nonsense, not me, and yet you're trying to lay that at my door.
Ah,
Today.
when you say I wanted to go into it,
John
you mean
and Brian are really great. John's a big creator.
I didn't want to go
I'm not
into
saying
it.
John
What you
is
mean
not-
is,
I'm not saying John is not really great. I'm just saying.
what you mean is, I allowed it to continue, right? While Omni was discussing it, I would allow that. It's not like I was egging him on. In fact, I was on server mute. I put myself on server mute in the Discord server so we could discuss it in the background while I was messing around with other things. But I wasn't encouraging it. It wasn't like I wanted it to go there. It was going there because of the baller taking it there. And I grant you, I was allowing it. But that's very different to how you just phrased it. I realised you'd phrased it prior to me saying that John's my favourite or some crap like that afterwards, shit sandwich styly.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you that, Brian. We were on mute to them, like joking about it and seeing where they were going with it.
Yeah, I started late. My eldest daughter put her foot through a bluey vegetable stand toy. So I was gluing it together right up until the very start, and then I had like 2 minutes to get all the stuff in order, and I hadn't. So I started the show, went live, and then I was like, right, I'll just sort this out now. I'm live. It's a bit like some pilots. There's a mentality where you just want to get in the air. Everything's fine once I'm in the air. Let's get the craft off the ground. Come on, let's just get along. Once we're in the air, we can sort everything else out. They've got that kind of get the flight on the way mentality, and that can sometimes lead to errors and problems, and you not being ready to do or deal with whatever comes along. That was kind of how I was yesterday.
I thought that was. Sorry, I thought that was pretty good because it allows us to just sit back and listen to how it's being dealt with by people other than us.
Yeah, but that only occurred because I wasn't
charming.
there. I wasn't there at the pre-show. Then the live time comes, 1 minute to live time. I joined that, if you will, Discord server, and Omni's already in the thick of it. He's in the swing of it. So I do the intro. I'm on mute for them. And then I think I opened the line. No, that's right. I went into politics initially as soon as the live show started because I was like, I need people to be immediately talking to me. I'm not fully ready. And I went into politics and there was no one talking. Oh, crap. I'll go into our own. By then it's like 2 minutes after the hour, 3 minutes after the hour. And I would assume Omni's in there going, they're not going to be having a live show today. Then I'll chat crap at this flatty. That's when I joined and I'm like, well, they're already in the middle of the conversation. I'll stay on server mute. And we'll just see where it goes, because that's all I needed was someone to be talking.
Yeah, and George was
interesting.
talking to Omni when you got there, and he was ready and waiting to point out the horizontal plane of reference that he'd need for the pitch of the plane.
It's interesting.
was explaining.
He was talking about a projection.
Who?
I'm sorry, I was talking when that other gentleman was.
Who was talking about the
I'll finish
projection?
straight,
The
go ahead.
omnivore guy? This is like pulling teeth.
I'll go ahead and go. The omnivore guy was talking about how all these maps are wrong because they're projections and distorted because of that, and they're all globe projections. But that isn't true. They're celestial sphere projections, and that's a projection from a flat plane that's measured.
Yeah, it's on screen now.
Yeah, we were trying to see if they would say, well, where'd you get the measurements for that anyway for your globe? But I see what you're talking about, John. Yeah, we didn't pick that up, Nathan.
Yeah, he's right, we didn't. So, again, I'll reiterate for the audience's benefit. The assertion is that because we've got a globe that we're projecting these flat maps from, our opponent, Omnivores, in yesterday's show saying that's why the flat maps are distorted, because we're not using globe-shaped ones where they've come from. Wrong. They've come from a celestial sphere. And that is what is projected in the case of the, I don't know, which one's the most common one? Mercator?
No, no, this is all wrong. The map, there is no correct world map because every world map is a projection of some kind, right, from a globe. That's why they're all incorrect, because the Earth is not a globe. That's why
they're not they're not projected from a globe. They're projected from the celestial sphere.
But they are. The celestial sphere is not a map, like a terrestrial map. They're all. Every one of them starts off as a globe Earth, and they project them in whatever way, whether it be a cylinder, whether it be from the north center or their south center, down flat, or it's broken up into 3 or 4 pieces, like the Pierce Quinn Connell map, I think it's called. They're all a projection from a globe Earth. That globe you see in the classroom, they're all a projection from that. And that's why with things like the AE map, you have a big stretched out Australia with incorrect longitude lines, all these kind of things. The reason they're all wrong is because we're not living on a globe. That's the only reason. Anything else? Because what's the celestial sphere? There isn't one. It doesn't exist. There's just lights in the sky above a flat plane.
Well, the celestial sphere is when you take all those measurements and you create a diagram of how those angles relate to each other. And you get that 360 degrees of angle.
Yeah, but the celestial sphere is
but then you take
only... Sorry, I thought you were finished.
Oh, no. All you do to make the globe is take each GP point of those stars and put land corresponding there to it. And that's how you form a globe. But that's not what you use to project it.
They didn't need any of that. It's just one celestial body, Polaris. That's it. After that, they made their globe from that. That was it. I can show the mathematics where they got their radius from. Everything. That's where it's that simple. Couldn't be more simple. That's exact. In their paradigm, right? Polaris only appears to go down because you are going over the curve of the globe Earth. It's not actually appearing to go down due to any kind of perspective or any other effect that may be inherent with the celestial bodies. It's purely down to it's staying exactly as it is, but the curve is increasing in front of you, blocking out Polaris eventually. That's their claim.
But that's just conceptually impossible because the angle that between the surface is decreasing because you're going over a curve. It doesn't make sense.
I know, and none of it makes sense. But that's what they're trying to claim reality is for us. And that's why every map is wrong. Because they're basing it off of non-reality. And then they're trying to take that non-reality and somehow project it back into something that we can use in reality. You can't just...
You can use a celestial sphere, like you can use it.
But the GP points would have longitude positions that don't match in places like Australia. You can't use it then. It's no good to you because it's giving you a false reality.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get someone to understand the concept of valency by showing them the orbital model of a atom, but that doesn't mean that the atom's an orbital model. That doesn't mean that's what the atom is. It's just you're trying to convey an idea.
I understand.
We'll have to talk about this more. Yeah, we'll talk about this more.
I understand that. But we don't live on an idea. That's the difference. They have us living on a concept. If you understand what I mean. Their paradigm is a concept that they hold as a belief, a religious belief. And that's the position they have us in. That's why all the war maps are wrong. Sorry.
That's a good quote. We don't live on an idea. I like that.
Liam,
we live on a prayer.
How long's this?
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
How long's this video? Is it worthy of covering in the last 10 minutes of the live show, or should we cover it tomorrow?
It's quite long,
That's what I thought.
and the conversation's good.
I was going to say we'll leave it till tomorrow.
Before you round out, Nathan, I put a comment. This is one of my latest comments on my latest video. If you wouldn't mind reading it, it's a bit lengthy. Put it into Master B. I posted it to you and I put it in Broadbusters last night. Listen to this utter nonsense. This is what they got.
Yeah, I'd love to read it. It's just a little bit small. You'd have to read it out yourself because I can't read it. Can someone else figure a way of reading Brian's comment because it's just too tiny for me to read? Anybody?
Can you not read it, Brian?
I'm on a phone, but I'll try.
Can you not? Can you see how tiny it is?
Where is it?
Well, he sent it to me personally, so I don't know where it would be for you. I think it's in Master B somewhere. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty funny on this on the phone too.
It's funny though what Brian and John are talking about and the celestial sphere and that conversation. But just going back to omnivore and going to Ireland, I did bring him to the celestial sphere a couple of days ago when we were talking about celestial navigation, and he was talking about distorted maps, and I just took him straight to the celestial sphere, and the equatorial plane is what will be used in the horizontal plane. And what did he do? He went quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
At the limit of
Please, for
understanding.
anyone, I have it if you want me to read it.
Yes, please, Neil.
Please, for anyone that's thinking that Brian is some or representative of Irish people and their culture, please don't do that. Actually, Ireland has been a contributor and of much help for human progress. This is very small, especially since the year 1600 until 1900 in regard to scientific evolution. Boyle, Buford, Walton, just to name a few. Let alone the huge and unforgettable number of philosophers, novelists, writers, whose work is still inspiring millions of people that intellectually branded as Brian. See, I'm not even Irish, not even North European. Actually, I'm part of the most Southern Europe you could ever imagine. But even though I'm a descendant of the very ancient Greeks and the son of the Roman culture that followed them, I gotta go all the way over. Evolution as a whole, be it Sumeric, Indian, and or from the Far East, has evolved with all the differences due to the moment, but somehow towards the same end, progress and culture. Unfortunately, 2,500 years of evolution, but in the end, we still have to deal with such brainless, useless, oxygen thief as Brian, the flathead. Make no mistake, yes, some sort of pre-Stone Age morons are still between us, and they'll probably will be here forever. But if it wasn't for the internet and the global age that's made their stupidity more notable for anyone to laugh at, they're just that, a bunch of useless village idiots whose only goal in their useless, meaningless life is giving anyone who's been gifted with more than a single brain cell a good laugh. all of this rant for saying that Brian is an idiot. Just like any idiot you will ever cross during your life. So just consider his idiocy as the proof that evolution, especially in this modern time and age, is showing its limit. But if nothing else, his stupidity will surely give anyone some more self-confidence. That was rough and tiny. What an idiot. So that's all he's got.
Well done. Yeah. What a waffle. Nothing.
2,500 years of evolution. I mean, guys, come on. We can't be wrong. It can't just be that we're wrong about something. These guys are idiots, and we're evolving. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, Nathan, when he first came into it, he was all about consensus, right?
Projection, again, as always, complete projection. So he's concerned that this would mean he's devolving, he's becoming more stupid. The failure to have introspection has led him to the need to project this onto Brian.
Yeah, it was
next
out in
time
the
you speak to him, Brian, tell him that he's won the Share Your Pain Award of the Year.
I didn't even reply to him. I don't know who he is. It's just out of nowhere. Just like normally I get a throw a comment out of nowhere from some comment or some account I don't know. No, that happens all the time. This is like someone put in.
It's a nothing burger. Where are you wrong? Tell us where he's wrong. Mark it down. And he said this over here, and he's wrong, as you can see, because this is what it really is. No, you get nothing like that. Just a load of insults. Nathan's right.
Oh, it was his concern. That's why I thought Nathan would like it. This guy is very concerned. Very, very. You know that be afraid, be very, very, very afraid. That's the power. That's what that guy is in now. You know
We
what I
saw
mean?
that.
He's under pressure.
When he said that the Irish have contributed to Western society, I burst out laughing.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Brian doesn't. If they did, Brian doesn't represent that aspect of Ireland. The guy's got a point in a way. No, he's not going to get. I'm not getting a rise out of Brian. Okay, fair enough.
Nah, I know it's with him. But I actually had 40 minutes, so I couldn't do it. No, it was just. Now, I often got the same type of nonsense where you don't rep. I had ballers get stock accounts and put an Irish name on the account, and start telling me that I don't represent Ireland and all this. As if, right, my go-to place 10 years ago was to represent Ireland right, in flat out. It's like, never even crossed my mind. It would never cross my mind. And even when they keep bringing it up, it doesn't cross my mind. So I don't know where to go with that, but they think that's some kind of something. But this guy put extra effort into it. Like, he really put effort. And where did he go? He started off with, I'm not a representation of Ireland or Irish people. And he ended up at God knows where. He put all that point
into his heart and soul.
Sorry, Tom.
Heart and soul, man. He put heart and soul in there, brother. I'm just backing you up. That heart and soul went into that. He was just
Yeah, but be ready because you're gonna be getting a lot more of this stuff.
That's what pitch data does to you, mate.
Exactly what that they got nowhere else to go. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like there's some kind of a pitch flu going on with that.
You call it the pitch flu?
No, what you got to call it is, to them, you got to say, listen, life's a pitch. What are you going to do?
Life's a pitch.
Life's a pitch, then you fly.
For them, it is. You know what that video, the one the comment is on? It's me pointing out that they require the earth to be flat to correctly measure the height of Mount Everest.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I vaguely remember when that came out. Did you not contact me preemptively, I'm just giving you preemptive props, if that's what you call it. You said that they would trigger them in a message to me when you sent me the video to that link about your description of the concept using Everest. You said to me in the Skype comment, I'll go back and have a look and check for this for tomorrow, but you were like, this will trigger them or something like that.
Okay, because now it's not trigger. It is triggering them very bad, but because other flat earthers are not taking up the mantle, they're okay for the minute, right? It's like the pitch data, but if no other flat earther is talking about it, it's okay. But when the other flat earthers do start talking about what I'm pointing out, they're in serious trouble, because it means that a process we use and have used for years and years, or God knows how long, which is the determination of an actual height to a terrestrial object, right, based off of a known distance, or an actual distance based off of a known height, being gained from an angular size measurement, right, can't work or exist within their paradigm. It can only happen if perspective exists and we live on a flat earth. It can't happen in any other way. And this is the problem. It's like what happened is that other guy came out, remember he came out with that measurement of a mountain 50 miles away from his home, and he had a star above it, and he had this angle to the star from the top of the mountain that wasn't correct, and blah, blah, blah. But everyone raved about it. Well, we should have done what I did. All I was going to do is bring out my video, and suddenly his video came out. But his video had issues with it that the ballers could attack. My video can't be attacked. I'm showing exactly what has to happen, what would happen for them, right? They don't even have angular size change, but it's showing exactly what would happen over that distance between the Kathmandu Valley and Mount Everest, and Mount Everest, sorry, on a globe with diverging zeniths. You know the thing Grove is claiming? You can't have angular sizes with diverging zeniths, certainly not at 100 miles away, and you can take an angular size of Mount Everest from much further than 100 miles away. The point being is that this process that we use all the time and has been used for God knows how long, centuries maybe at this stage, maybe more, right? Maybe more, right? Can only happen if the earth is flat. That's it. Because that horizontal baseline has to adhere to mean sea level. Mean sea level has to be horizontal plane for all this to work. And they're absolutely raging. But the other flat earthers don't know that. Other flat earthers aren't catching on to this yet. When they do catch on to it, the ballers are going to be held to task every day.
Yeah, when flat earthers start playing the game of where you hiding your flat plane, you know, in your evidence, I can see the ballers running more often.
But what happened is that due to that video, Ruhif wanted to challenge me to an angular size measurement contest, right? It's like, right, he sent me a diagram, right, trying to somehow make Mount Everest angular size measurement work on a globe. He had parallel zeniths in his diagram. The scale was all off, and he was trying to claim angular size at a distance for a globe. And I said, none of these things, you don't have parallel zeniths or angular sizes. Like, you can't partake in what you're looking for me to partake. You're looking for me to partake in some kind of a competition with you. I go up and get an angle for a mountain, and you get an angle, and blah, blah, blah. We determine whether the globe or flat earth elevation angle is going to be. It's like, you don't have any of that. So there is no, like, even your own diagram has said it has parallel zeniths, and you didn't even diverge the zeniths because you know it's over for you. Like, I didn't give them an angular size measurement. I just showed what would happen with diverging zeniths and a tangent plane being the straight line for a triangle. That would be the end of that. The whole thing falls apart because they're not going to get a correct angular size to something like Mount Everest. It'll never work. They don't have angular size, and because of the tangent and the angle it'll be at, they won't, like, there's just no way for it to ever work. Just can't work. They don't have what they need to have to make that process work. And Ruhif was absolutely raging. Absolutely raging.
Well, if he's presenting parallel zeniths here, then he knows Earth's flat.
Yeah, exactly. And he was saying, I think his claim was something like so the mountain, what Mount Everest or some other mountain in Ireland, but he was saying it should be 2.26, but for me it should be 2.28. It's like, no, it can't be anything for you. Anything it is only for me. It can't be anything for you. You don't have angular sizes. You don't have a horizontal baseline. You don't have parallel zeniths. You don't have. It's not possible for me to have the competition with you want me to have. Do you know what I mean? It's like someone who's 80 years of age and is sitting in a wheelchair wanting to have a sprinting competition with you, yet they can't stand up and go to the toilet. It's like, it's not possible. You can't do that.
Right. Well, their problem is they say the conceptual unit we're using in measurement is wrong, that it doesn't apply to reality. But then they're turning around and using that conceptual unit, applying it to reality, and just like whistling, like we're just supposed to let them. No. You know, that's not going to fly anymore.
That's our stuff.
Yeah, that's our stuff, exactly.
Yeah, don't use our
Parallel
stuff.
zeniths. Yeah, parallel zeniths, horizontal distances, angular sizes. That's our stuff. Vertical angular sizes. Vertical, that's our stuff too. But when they need to make an argument, they need to use it.
Yeah, you can't get zenith from a zenith is not with respect to a curved surface. It's just not.
Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth in the first instance to derive it from.
Well, I've given this, right? If you're standing on a globe and you were pre-assuming that what you're standing on is a tangent to the globe, and all plumb bobs are pointing towards the center of that globe, right, due to a force of gravity, if I was pre-assuming all of that, then I could create a 90 with a pre-assumed mathematical tangent, but I can't use it for anything. I don't have an angular size. That doesn't exist in my paradigm. Angular sizes don't exist. And my tangent is not going to allow me to get a correct angular size because I don't have angular size. And the angle of the tangent in relation to the object at a distance, whether it be a tower, a mountain, whatever, I won't be able to get it correct anything. It just doesn't work. I can't do it. I can't do the process. The process just doesn't work. It's like when they come. Sorry, John. Go on. Hold on a second. Go on.
No. Just you said that about the force of gravity. That incorrect notion that there's a force pulling everything down, right, is only applicable to an inertial plane. Them saying that all these point to the center of Earth, it's nonsensical. It's only applicable to an inertial plane. So what are you talking about, center of Earth? That doesn't make sense. A plane has no center of a spherical center. There's no spherical center to a plane. What? It's insane.
You see, what I did in my video was I gave them as much as I could actually give them, right? If hypothetically we stood on a globe and all plumb bobs pointed towards the center of that globe, and I'm standing on a pre-assumed mathematical tangent plane, then yeah, you can get a 90. But it doesn't do anything for you. It won't help you in this instance or any other instance similar. You know, it ruins them. So I don't know if you watched the video, Nathan, but it just ruins them. There is no comeback. There's no way out of it. So you can look through the comments, and there's nobody actually able to rebut it. The only person that tried was Ruiz, and he needed our stuff to do it. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about the Everest video this guy's made a comment on?
Yeah. Because it's not about Mount Everest. I just use that as because it's such a known landmark, right? And it's so big, right? It can be used for any mountain at a distance or any building at a distance, right? That you're going to try and determine something with via its angular size from your elevation. You know, because it brought in the elevation of Kathmandu Valley, everything into it. So what you're going to do, you have to subtract the elevation of Kathmandu Valley from the known elevation of Mount Everest, and then take an angular size from that point, and the angular size you get has to match the remaining amount of Mount Everest. It has to, right? That's how these things work. And both the elevations for Kathmandu Valley and for Mount Everest must be from the same horizontal plane, right, for that to work. And angular size with distance, with perspective needs to exist. So all these things can only happen if the Earth is flat. It's the only way it can happen. And we use these processes all the time, just like with pitch data, just like with flight data. All that flight data, how planes fly, not even, I should be saying flights themselves, how planes flying. That can only happen if the Earth is flat stationary. The way it happens and what they do and how they have to do what they have to do can only work if the Earth is flat.
Right. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. If you did happen to want to buy a Beatles mic, it'll probably appear on eBay in the not too distant future, so check that out if you happen to be a Beatles fan. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show, and I'll see you all in the next video.